What's up, everybody? My name is Kimball, and welcome to the Kickbox Podcast. Today, I had the honor to interview none other than K-1 Producer Carlos Kikuta. When you talk with combat sports fans about the K-1, most people will immediately talk about the golden age of the K-1 during the early 90s and the early zeros. A lot of those fans think that K-1 is dead. You couldn't be more further away from the truth. K-1 is well alive, and after speaking with Carlos Kikuta, the K-1 producer, their plans are huge, they're big, they're ambitious, but they have a strategy how to conquer the world again as the #1 kickboxing organization of the world. We talked about different things like brand recognition. K-1 has been around since the 90s. We've talked about the return of K-1 Max with Stoyan Koprivlenski coming on top, and what is next for him. Is it going to be the fight that we all wanted? A title fight against Ouyang Feng. I ask him, is Buakaw coming back? I talk about a potential matchup with K-1 champion Yuki Yoza and a champion from another organization. We talked about the recent partnership with CSI Sports to expand their international broadcasting. And of course, a lot of people ask me this. I also talked about a potential crossover, a collaboration with organizations like One Championship, Rise, or maybe Glory. He actually knows Marshall Zelasnek, the CEO of Glory, very well. And of course, I asked him, why should combat sports fans watch K-1 in 2024 compared to other martial art organizations? So sit back and relax and enjoy the interview. First of all, I would like to introduce myself before we actually go to the questions.
Yeah, let's do that.
My name is Kimball. I live in the Netherlands, as you might know. I write for Beyond Kickboxing and as well as make a podcast called the Kickbox Podcast, which is a Dutch and English language podcast, all a bit about kickboxing because I'm a huge fan of kickboxing, been watching kickboxing since early days, like during the K-1 times, of course. That's when I got the interest into kickboxing. So there's my passion for kickboxing started there. Just like I mentioned before our recording for the interview, I've been to Japan. I actually been to a K-1 event as well. 2017 was during K-1 K Festa. I actually have a souvenir from that time here in my hands right now. So it's
that's great.
Had an enjoying time. It was a really great event. But I would like to start off with, for people who are listening or reading the interview, could you maybe introduce yourself, Carlos? Who are you?
Okay.
For K-1.
Okay. I'm a producer. To K-1 now, and my career starting from a music industry. I graduated from Tokyo University of the Arts. I majored in performing arts in the music.
Yeah.
After that, I joined the Sony Corporation for 16 years. Mainly, I was in charge of film investment and entertainment investment and the licensing, not only sports, but music, film, TV, drama produced by Sony Corporation.
Entertainment.
Entertainment. And also, I moved to SoftBank, the mobile carrier in Japan, one of the biggest mobile carrier in Japan. I was in charge of also film investment, sports investment, and distribution for 60 years. After that, I established my own corporation for during my 10 years. And starting last year, I became a K-1 producer, and also I've been in charge of head of global marketing.
Yes. All right. So that's a very nice introduction. So. Like last year at K-1 was like 30 years, the anniversary was of K-1 30 years anniversary. You made a press conference. You made a very big statement of wanting to conquer the world as K-1 as the new global kickboxing organization. I was very, very enthusiastic when I saw the press conference. I thought that everything went very nice. The plans were big. I really I'm very happy that you speak very good English because for international audiences...
I don't think so. Yeah, no.
Well, I mean, we're having a very nice conversation right now, and I feel like you can express yourself. You know what the fans want, and you really, from my experience, you really show that in that press conference. So, with all the big plans you've made, my first question is are you happy with how this year of K-1 is going, because you are very ambitious? Can you tell me something about that?
Okay, the many things have happened in the year since I became a producer, most of which I cannot mention here. Okay. I'm not satisfied with all the events in 2024, but I'm satisfied with the various efforts that have been made since I became producer, such as the K-1 World Grand Prix World Preliminary Round we have already started, and the revival of K-1 World Max with an eye to the global market.
Yeah. All right. I mean, in my opinion, the year is going very nice so far, and I feel like with the return of the K1 Max, for example, you made a great statement in the world. I mean, the win of Stoyan Koprivlenski was very amazing. So how did you experience the return of the K1 Max?
Okay, thank you very much, and I'm very happy to hear you say so. The under 70 kilogram can mark one of our flagship content. We'd like to realize many matches of under 70 kilogram fighters in Max, and also K1 World Grand Prix event in the future.
Yes.
We recently, announced that the 5 fighters will participate in the Osaka event. This not Max, that Grand Prix in October. At the same time, we will continue to find excellent fighters in this weight classes from all over the world.
Yes.
We want to do that under 70 kilogram, the ranges, the weight division.
Yeah. All right. And sorry, please continue.
Yeah, and also, regarding the Stoyan and Ouyang, that you were the third question, that we are working, on making the title match between Stoyan and Ouyang happen. As you know, the matchmaking is not determined by the availability of their schedule. It is determined by a number of factors, such as the fighters' condition, their schedule, the attention of the tournament itself, and the needs of the market is important. Yes. We are making an adjustment to provide the best possible setting all of them.
Yes. I think that's a very good way to approach this fight, because I can see that if you give a fight with what fans want, there is so much more appeal than just book a fight. So I think the way you look at this, like creating this fight, looking at schedules, looking at what does the market want, I think that's a very good step. And you mentioned you want to definitely want to book a title fight between Koprivlenski and Ouyang Feng. Is that gonna be like? Is the plan to have the fight at the Osaka event?
I don't think so. Not the Osaka. In the future, yeah.
Okay, in the future, yes. Because I was very enthusiastic to see that fight card, because there are no opponents yet. So my mind was immediately like, oh, maybe Ouyang Feng fighting Koprivlenski would be a very nice fight for that card. But even looking at that fight card, I'm still very happy, because there are so many great fighters like Dengue Silva, but also the open weight Grand Prix qualifier. I think it's the Asian round, if I'm correct.
It's the Asian round. The 4 fighters already decided, almost a Japanese one, and the other 4 fighters we are announcing as soon as possible.
Okay, that's just also creating a little bit of hype, I guess, so people.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think you're doing a great job about that. Talking about K1 Max, I had a question, like a lot of my listeners were asking for this, and it's the question, of course, Buakaw has fought in K1 Max last time. Is there a possibility that we can see him back in K1? Because that's, of course, a legendary fighter. And I don't have to introduce him to you. You already know who he is. It's an amazing legendary fighter. So is there any plans to bring him back?
What I can say, so we are the martial arts promoters, So if his participation is what K1 and the K1 fans need him to do, we'd like to negotiate in good faith again. That's my answer.
Okay. I think there is one thing in particular I was really interested about. Is like you've been K1 is like expanding internationally, so as mentioned before, and you've been to Sicily, you've been to Romania, you've been to I forgot the name of the other country.
Bosnia Herzegovina.
That's it. Yes. So I was wondering, like, of course, the winners of these tournaments, they are going to be qualifying for the year-end tournament in December, the 14th. And what is your, how do you feel the international events are going? Are you impressed? Are these going as expected? Or how do you feel about this international expansion and the events in the other countries?
Okay, the last time K1 did the event overseas about 14 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't recall, it's maybe in the 14, 15 years ago. I'm very worried about our fan is still in all over the world or not. However, when I went to Romania, then when I went to Bosnia, and then when I went to Italy, there was I could meet so many K1 fans. Therefore, still now we have the very strong brand recognition we have all over the world. It's about a relief I feel. And the next week, the K1 World Grand Prix 2024 South America run will be held in Brasilia in Brazil. This overseas qualifiers will be held next year as well. We want to this year we have the four, one, two, two, four, the three, the qualification all over the world. And the 2025, we are planning to hold other, the 4, 5, and 6, 8, decided the number of that. We actually want to expand our K1 World Grand Prix all over the world. That what we are talking about, what we think.
Yes, of course, you say K1 World Grand Prix, so then of course it's logical to say go outside of Japan, go really to the world, and that's what you guys are doing. I think that's a very good step in the right direction of becoming becoming the global kickboxing organization of the world, I think.
Yep.
And I was talking to your colleague Yusuke before we had this interview, and I asked him, is there any plan to go to the Netherlands? And he told me, you should ask Carlos. So I was wondering,
okay,
because I'm from the Netherlands, and of course I would love to go to a K1 event in the Netherlands. Is there a possibility that there might be an event?
Okay. At the moment, we have no plans to set up a K1 event in the Netherlands. However, now we get a lot of, offer from the promoter or gym and the fighters to hold, the K1 event in Netherlands. However, now, we have no plan to set it up.
Okay. Because if we're going to the Netherlands, if K1 goes to the Netherlands, I will definitely go there as well, because it feels like coming home, even though it's my country. K1 going to the Netherlands feels just perfect. So I am looking forward to it. Talking about the Netherlands, of course, you know, the Netherlands is one of the biggest kickboxing countries.
Exactly.
Just like Japan, both are in my opinion, the best kickboxing countries of the world. As you know, Glory at the moment is the biggest organization in the Netherlands. And I was wondering, how do you think about Glory? Because maybe I had an interview with Robbie Timmers from Glory, and Vechtsport Info had made an article about that, and you responded let's have a fun competition with Glory. So I was wondering, how do you see Glory? Is it something you take inspiration of, or is it? Can you tell me something about that?
Okay, I want to mention about the K1, the Wang, and anyway, do you know Marshall, the head of the Glory, the new CEO of Glory?
Yes.
Marsh, he's one of my best friends.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was in New York City for 66 years, starting 2000, 2006, he was, in charge of pay-per-view in the In-Demand Corporation. At that time, I was in charge K1, and week by week or event by event, I met him and go to dinner or having a discussion, something like that. Anyway, I hope the K1 One Glory will engage in the friendly competition. they're all great organizations, I think. If each organization works hard and aims to be number one, the martial arts, boxing will expand. That's important. The K-1 was broadcast in over 100 countries in the early 2000s. There is, overwhelming brand power we have that we build up at the time. Brand recognition is fundamentally different than, from glory and one. That's our asset.
Yeah.
However, each organization need to do the best, the working. That's important in order to expand kickboxing, not MMA.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And one of the goal is actually they have also how to build up the brand recognition once again for using our two, the site that the K1 World Grand Prix and the K1 World Max.
Yes.
That's our mission.
Yes, that's a very good mission. I think brand recognition is very important as well, and I think that's indeed one of the biggest assets you guys have, because K1 has been around since 1993, so it's a big brand. And as you mentioned, like, I think all organizations should realize that it's very important, because kickboxing is a sport, but to be more than a sport, you have to be recognizable. And I think it's not only the fighters, it's the brand. I think I really agree with that. And talking about brands, of course, there have been talks about fans wanted to see the best fighters from organizations facing the best fighters from other organizations. So as you might know, Glory is working with Rise, of course. So they have holding events. For example, there was a fight between Glory champion and Rise champion. Is there any possibility that K1 might be doing a collaboration with another kickboxing organization as well? For example, Glory, or maybe maybe Rise, or maybe One Championship, or a completely different organization?
Yeah, but of course, that is a possibility. We are currently in an open country situation, as I explained before. And I have been, as I mentioned before, I've been a friend with the new CEO of Glory, Marshall, for 20 years. He's coming to Japan in December.
Okay.
We will meet in Japan. We'd like to talk about everything from the past in the future.
Yes. That will be amazing if there could be something like that, because as mentioned, there are so many champions I would like to see face. For example, maybe this is maybe a really nice segue, because I wanted to talk about Yuki Yoza, of course, your champion. He's, in my opinion, one of my favorite fighters. He's his knockout victory over Kong Napa was amazing. It was impressive. Would it be interesting to see Glory champion Petch versus champion Yuki Yoza? Because I've heard that it's very difficult to find a fitting opponent for Yuki Yoza, because he's this good and he's defeating all his opponents. So how do you think about a situation like that? I think that's something the fans would love.
Okay, as I mentioned before, we are promoter, and the Glory is also also promoter. In order for us to making a match, we said matchmaking, there is a sum of factors. Not only schedule, the condition, and the most important is the business. The how to make a business. That is very important. Therefore, in order for us to set up, the matchmaking, such as Yuki Yoza, or is someone of the Glory fighter, Glory champion, or live champions, we need, the necessity, understanding for our market, how to make it. That, obviously, important for us.
Yes. So in other words, there must be a reason for doing, because if you just match a match without a reason, you might as well not match them at all.
Yes. Exactly.
And I would like to go a little bit back to the international events as well as K1 in its whole, because as you recently announced, you've been having a collaboration with CSI Sports, like you've been partners right now,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
the result of that partnership. Is there a possibility that we're gonna see more English international broadcastings? And like, is it
Mm-hmm.
going to be easier for international fans to watch K1? Because it's not always the easiest way to find, as an international fan, to find the K1 events. The last event, the K1 World Max, was the first time that most fans were very happy that we finally could buy a pay-per-view and watch the event. Is there a does the partnership gonna open up this way of finding K1 broadcasting?
Yeah, exactly. That's the Richard of the CEO of CSI. He's also one of my best friends in the New York City. When I met him last time, 2001, sport in Monaco. And they are at that time they are they were doing such as syndication business. Do you know syndication business? Such as buying a slot and buying a content and with
Okay.
commercial to set up that something like that. You know, well they have been the selling and distributing of the boxing and martial arts, so all of kinds of um, fighting sport, mainly in the English-speaking countries,
Yes.
both in the US and UK, the other countries. Therefore, we are very happy to collaborate with them in order for us to expand our English-speaking market.
And if I want to continue on, like, because that's your future is to be expanding more internationally, can you tell me something about what is the vision of K1 for the future as a company, but also to make the question a little bit more broad? I mean, how do you see not only the vision for K1 in the future, but also for kickboxing as a whole? Because it's at this moment you have so many different organizations, as mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
everybody is doing their own thing. Of course, everybody communicates, but still everybody is a little bit doing their own thing. How is
Mm-hmm.
K1 in this field of combat sports? How is what is your vision going into the future? What is your vision about kickboxing going into the future?
Okay. The basically speaking, in the 2009s and the 2000s, K1 was synonymous with heavyweight fighting, not in UFC. Our goal to make K1 synonymous with heavyweight fighting again in the international market. This is our goal.
Yes.
In order to do so, I think the most important is how to get the licensing deal with each country, such as Western European countries and Eastern. When it's about 30 years ago, we got a big deal with the Eurosport.
Yes.
The 2000s, the Eurosport, broadcasted K1 weekly.
Mm-hmm.
That was very important to get our brand. We could expand our brand recognition.
Yes.
We want to set a key broadcasting platform for each region, such as Western European countries and Eastern European countries and North America, Central America, South America, Oceania, in the Asian countries, China and Thailand and Malaysia, Indonesia, India, and also Middle Eastern countries. Each region, we need, the broadcasting partner. That's, my main job at this time.
Yes. Yeah, that is a very ambitious goal, but I think with brand recognition that can get a long way. And And if we talk about we were talking about K1's vision, but what do you think about kickboxing in the world? Like, of course, if I go back and I watch old K1 fights, there's a certain fighting style, there's a certain mindset, and how do you see kickboxing from then to now, how it's been changing and how it's going to the future? Long question. I'm sorry.
No. I don't think compared to the 20 years ago, I saw some of the differentiation between the K1, and the fighting style. However, the generation has been changed. All the time, our focus just in the TV, mainly terrestrial and cable. However, now the platform has more changed from that to internet, such as OTT, and also regarding promotion. The old time we focus on just TV, newspaper, the magazine. However, now there is a big, promotional media, that is SNS. That, the one big differentiation between now and, the 20 years ago. Yeah. Therefore, regarding a fighter, before only a promoter could know what fighter was doing, what fighter needed to do. But now, fighter can promote by themselves, for using SNS, such as X, Instagram, and Facebook, and YouTube, something like that. This is something in differentiation currently and, the old age. Therefore, when we watch the fighting sports, some of the fan or the other guys think about something differentiation between the now and the old age, I think. However, fundamentally, how to make a matchmaker, how to develop a fighter, how to develop brand recognition, brand image, I don't think it's totally different. The same thing. As a promoter, we need to do is only one thing. This is how to get the brand recognition for the market.
Yeah, as mentioned before, the K1 started out as an organization with a lot of heavyweights during the K1 World Grand Prix. When times had been changing, of course, more weight classes came in for K1 as well. You focused on lighter weight classes. But the heavyweight class is coming back, as you mentioned, like with K1 Fighting Network Romania, Sicily, different events with different heavyweight fighters. What is the future of heavyweight kickboxing in K1? Of course, there is going to be a Grand Prix at the end of the year. What is the future of heavyweight in K1 something that's going to be continuing on in other years, or is it only this year? What can we expect from heavyweight kickboxing?
Okay, regarding open weight heavyweight kickboxing, once a year we apply to hold the World Grand Prix series.
Yes.
This year, the 3 overseas events and the one, the Asian round. Totally, we want to fix 7 fighters, and due to the champion last year joining, this is our format. In the 2025, we want to hold, less than 7 qualification overseas event. And the one Asia round, either Japan or the other Asian countries. And the final should be in Japan in December. We want to open weight tournament once a year, as we are doing this year.
I think the future needs a little bit of structure, not necessarily K1, but kickboxing. It needs structure. Like, people want to know what they can expect, and I think this is a way to give fans something to look out for. I think that's a very nice thing for the future of heavyweight kickboxing. And my last question is the question I actually want to ask you is like, why do we like to introduce this question. Of course, we have boxing, we have mixed martial arts, we've got, of course, the big UFC, PFL, Bellator. but we also have other organizations like Karate Combat. We also have kickboxing, we have Glory, we have One Championship. You can name all the brands, all the organizations. But my question for you is, why do combat sports fans, not necessarily kickboxing fans, but combat sports fans who like combat sports, why should they watch K1 in 2024?
It's a very difficult question. My understanding is that, do you know what K stands for?
The K, it stands for Kakutogi, if I'm correct.
Not right, but not, the K stands for Kung Fu, Karate, and the kick. According to Ishii Kancho, K stands for bushido, budo, kakutogi, that's in Japanese word. When the martial arts fan watch the kakutogi and martial arts sport, they might imagine regarding bushido in Japan something. What can I say? Bushido is not sport. This is a notion for fighting. It means what fighter can do, what fighter cannot do that. Therefore, between the fighters, actually, if it's a sport, actually they can just compete and to find out who is the winner, something like that. However, bushido is a little bit different. In order for us to let our enthusiasm to know what bushido is, why the two guys need to fight in the square ring or octagon, something like that, they feel something from their mind. It's very hard to explain.
I think I've got the essence of your question, of your answer, because I've read a lot about bushido, and it's a difficult way to explain. But I think as you mentioned, it's more than fighting, and I feel that differentiates K1 from all organizations. It's very ingrained in the culture of Japan as well, in my opinion. If I'm correct?
Yeah, exactly. The base of the bushido are all in all K1.
Yeah.
Okay. In the later, I'm sending what I want to explain.
Unfortunately, the connection fell through, and when the connection came back, Carlos had only 1 minute to talk with me, so he was kind enough to send me some extra detailed, in-depth information about Bushido and K1 compared to other organizations. This is what he sent me. I believe that the marketing of martial arts has its origins in Japan. In the old days, it was sumo, pro wrestling, UFC, Pride, and K1. In martial arts, it is important to attract an audience. How many people paid attention to the fight between Antonio Inoki and Muhammad Ali, and how many watched the broadcast? All of them are filled with the appearance of martial arts as a form of entertainment. It was K1 in the 2000s was able to realize and reproduce this. Bushido does not have a clear definition, but it does have a fundamental value, standard of ethics and moral code. In a broad sense, it is a common sense approach that is unique to Japan. We make effective use of this code of ethics and morality in our entertainment. This is something that One Championship and Glory do not understand. And I think it is a fundamental difference from K1. I wanted to thank you very much for
thank you very much.
speaking to me. Arigato gozaimashita.
Arigato. And finally, come to Japan to watch K1.
Yes, well, I really would love to. I would love to come back because not only K1 is amazing, Japan as well. Best time of my life. Yes. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for watching this exclusive interview with K1 producer Carlos Kikuta. I would like to thank Carlos as well as Yusuke who set this interview up. So let me know, what did you think of this interview? What piqued your interest? What do you think about their strategy going forward? What do you think of heavyweight kickboxing in K1? What do you think of the future of K1 Max? Let me know, let everything know in the comments. If you want to know more about my interview with Carlos Kikuta, I've written down an article for Beyond Kickboxing regarding this topic. I will link it down below, so check it out. Before I let you go, please like and subscribe to my channel. And if you like my content, I made a video about legendary kickboxer Buakaw. Check it out as well. And I'd like to see you in the next episode of the Kickbox Podcast.